up? Yes, I believe we're live. So welcome to Gamcast for Wednesday. We're here tonight to talk about impeachment basics and specifically the GOP recent report on Biden's impeachment. You're going to be a little surprised to hear my take on this in a few minutes. Anyway, if you like this comment or this content, rather, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. So you probably heard a couple days ago that the GOP House has moved forward with impeachment articles for Joe Biden. Take a look here from Fox News.
This is a Fox News alert. All new this morning, House Republicans finding President Biden and his family received more than $27 million.
Anyway, folks, they're excited over there at Fox. This from a couple of days ago, and we had other stories we covered, and we don't go live every day, so we didn't cover it at the time. But now we're going to come in and explain to you the basics of impeachment and where this is going with Biden. I only think, frankly, they have a couple of impeachable offenses here for reasons that I'll explain in a moment. I also think, to some extent, this was going to be an election year gimmick because they thought he was still going to be the nominee. Might as well put the report. So we'll put a link if you're listening to us later on Twitter or Rumble, Facebook, etc., where I can do such. I will put a link into this. This is the actual House report. We're going to cover it in a minute. But before we do that, let's talk about what impeachment is and how it works. So the first two impeachment clauses in the Constitution of the United States are in Article 1 because Article 1 concerns the Congress. Okay, and basically Article 1, Section 2, Clause 5 says, the House of Representatives shall choose a speaker and other officers and shall have the sole power of impeachment. That means impeachment has to initiate in the House. That's it. Now, thereafter, the Constitution in Article 1, Section 3, Clauses 6 and 7 say that the Senate shall have the sole power to try the impeachment, right? And the Chief Justice shall be the presiding officer, and you need 2/3 of the senators to be convicted. And it is very difficult to do that. And Chuck U. Schumer, he added earlier this year when the House impeached Merrick Garland, he added we can just have a motion to dismiss these articles, which I don't think is constitutional. I don't know if we'll ever see a case where it'll come up in the Supreme Court. We'll have to opine on that, but they will. Now, as it relates to Biden, you'll have to go to Article 2, Section 4, which concerns the impeachment of the executive branch. We all know, those of us that know the Constitution and are trained in the laws, and I'm both, Article 1 concerns the Congress, Article 2 concerns the executive branch, and Article 3 concerns the judicial branch. And so you have Article 2, Section 4, the President, Vice President, and all officers of the United States shall remove from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, and other high crimes and misdemeanors. Now, in a minute, we're going to look at what the GOP says is high crimes, misdemeanors, treason, or bribery, and see if they've got that. But before we do that, you hear a lot about the Supreme Court. Their impeachment article is in Article 3, obviously concerning the court. It says judges, both supreme and inferior officers, shall hold officers during good behavior. And what that means, those of us that have been trained in the history and the Constitution, is until you're impeached. And what are you impeached for? High crimes and misdemeanors. All right, folks, let's go to the GOP articles. And I think right off the bat, they've got a big problem. I do not believe any constitutional scholar believes that you can impeach somebody for conduct that occurred before they took the office. And a lot of these things, you'll see there, 2014, Joe Biden, in my view, anything he did before he became the president of the United States is not impeachable by this House. It might have been impeachable by the prior houses, maybe. But that's the first problem I see. Second problem I see, from 2014 to the present, as part of a conspiracy to monetize Joe Biden's office of public trust in the rich Biden family, the Biden family members and their associates received $27 million, blah, blah, blah. Now, presumably, if they're still receiving that money today, it would be bribery. Right there. You see it right there. Treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. The problem is, I don't think they have the goods. Right? And this is an unfortunate place where we live, but we should not be politicizing everything and even behavior we do not like. I do not believe that they have sufficiently proved it enough to be bribery. I think bribery, you've got to actually tie the action to something, not just generally, they're giving me a bunch of money and my family a bunch of money and they want to get good things in return. In my view, not enough. Joe Biden used his status as vice president to garner favorable outcomes for his sons and his business partners' feelings. Same thing there, folks. Most of it occurred before he was president of the United States, so you can't use it there. And number two, to me, it's too attenuated. The Biden family leveraged Joe Biden's position as the public trust to $8 million in loans he hadn't repaid. Same thing as before, folks. I hate it, but the remedy for this is don't elect him again. right? And if if Trump's DOJ wants to look into it and see if they can find something legal, that's fine. But we're talking about impeachment and removing the elected leader of the American people, right? That has to rise to the level of impeachment. I don't think so far we've seen anything. Under the Biden administration, Justice Department and Federal Bureau of Investigation afforded special treatment to President Biden's son, Hunter Biden. Nope. Not even close. That is not a high crime. It is not a misdemeanor. It's not bribery, and it's not treason. Again, folks, is it untoward? Is it nefarious? It's all those things. None of it's good. None of it. But, folks, again, the remedy for that is don't elect the guy, not to impeach him. Folks, impeachment is supposed to be, as it says here, it should be strictly interpreted. Go back to the Constitution right here. Conviction of treason, bribery, and other high crimes and misdemeanors. Let me just say one more thing before I go get to the last couple, and we'll finish this up. When you read this, anytime you see in law specific terms, treason, bribery, and then you see or other, that's called in law a savings clause. The people that draft it, they said, hey, conviction of treason, you can be impeached. Conviction for bribery, you can be impeached. And they're like, well, there might be other things that rise to this level. So they use what is so-called savings language. And then they say, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. So I think President Ford once famously said, well, right, I may have been in the House at the time when he said it, that a high crime or a misdemeanor is whatever the House says it is. Not true, right? If you read the clause the way it's properly supposed to be read, it should be other crimes and misdemeanors, right, that are in line with treason and bribery, okay? The fact that he's trying to use his position to favor his son, that ain't enough. It's just not. It's not even close to bribery or treason, in my view. The Biden Justice Department misled Congress about the independence of law enforcement entities in the criminal investigation of Hunter Biden. Same thing as before. I don't need to say any more. And then the last one, this is where I do think they absolutely have him dead to rights. And this is absolutely proper for them to do this. The White House has obstructed the committee's impeachment inquiry by withholding key documents and witnesses. Obstruction of justice. Bingo, bango, done. That is on line with treason. It's in line with bribery. That's fitting into that other high crimes and misdemeanors. Absolutely a high crime and a misdemeanor. The White House has impeded the committee's investigation into President Biden's unlawful retention of classified documents by refusing to make relevant witnesses available for interviews and by erroneously asserting executive privilege over audio recordings for special counsel Sir's interviews with President Biden. What's going on there, folks, is Biden gave him the transcript. And then after they got the transcript, they said, well, we want to see the video. And I can tell you as an attorney for over 30, working in the law for over 30 years, I can tell you, you always want the video. Video is always better than a transcript. And the simple reason why, folks, is if you read a transcript, right, oftentimes the people that are transcribing it will do you a favor and take out long pauses or ums. Not to mention, sometimes they won't even put them in. So I can tell you as a trained litigator, and I do this quite a bit, and it takes a few years to learn this, but you'll start asking somebody a question. So, for example, on Wednesday, did you, that sounds terrible. So what you learn to do, and when you're taking a deposition, is to just stop whole cloth and pause and know that the person who's taking the transcript, they'll know and it'll come out. So, for example, if I do the question this way, on Wednesday, isn't it true that you went to the store? On the transcript, it will seem like I said, isn't it true that on Wednesday you went to the store? And it'll look like a normal question. But when you get the video, you'll get the whole pausing part, right? Now, imagine how bad Biden had to look for him to not let them have that evidence. Anyway, folks, that's obstruction of justice, easily impeachable. I think it's the only thing they have. And again, we should not be turning impeachment into just a game that we play if we don't like the party out there. So I'm going to defend the Constitution and defend Biden. I think there's only one reasonable impeachable article. We all know that, and I don't think the GOP is going to bring it up for a vote, but if they do, unfortunately, and I doubt they will, frankly, but if they do, Schumer will just say, hey, and just dismiss it. So anyway, now you know a little bit more about Biden's impeachment inquiry and the basis of impeachment. And if you enjoyed this material, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if you do, I will see you on the next one.